Welcome back, dear viewers, to Good Morning Kuwait. We are still with you with a new guest to talk more about the importance of expressing love between married couples and the rest members of family. We would like to welcome Dr. Andy Baldwin, psychotherapist. Good morning and welcome to GMK. Good morning, Kuwait.
Good morning. Nice to meet you, and thank you. Thank you for having me.
Dr. Andy, what a topic. Talking about love, that's amazing. Anyway, first of all, it's a pleasure to have you in Good Morning Kuwait.
Likewise, thank you.
Dr. Andy, I want to really, before we start, how can we define love?
Okay, well, first we need to consider that love is subjective, just like happiness, for example. People tend to have different meanings of what love is or what it should be, just like happiness. So if I want to define it from an objective point of view, if we look up in the dictionary, love is when someone has a deep feeling of affection for another. So if I was to look at that from a psychological perspective, or through a different lens, there's that one word that stands out to me, and it's feeling.
Feeling.
Which, to me, means that it's an emotion.
Emotion,
Yes.
exactly.
Just like happiness.
Indeed.
So when defining love, I'd look into what promotes love. What are the constituents of love?
Okay.
And how do I maintain it? So I'd rather go through these things in order to define love itself, since it can be subjective. And the thing is, because it's an emotion, emotions are sometimes with you, sometimes they're against you.
Yeah.
They come in waves. So it's like, it goes up and then it reaches a peak and then it starts to go down, like sadness, happiness. So to maintain that, we got to talk about what promotes love.
Exactly.
Okay.
What are the parts of, that make love, and how do we maintain it? So
how do we keep that temp?
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So allow me to
Yes,
just
please.
quickly
How
go
do we
over.
promote it and maintain it?
Okay, well, firstly, to promote love, it's liking someone.
Okay.
So liking is very important, and since it's, this morning, we can take an example, like a hard-boiled egg without its shell.
Okay.
Let's say that the egg yolk, the outer layer, sorry, the egg white, the outer layer,
The egg white,
is liking someone.
Okay.
And then the center of that egg is where the love is, right? So in order to love someone, we have to establish the liking aspect naturally, by nature, before being able to go into the center of the egg. So it's like a prerequisite that needs to be established first, and then we can go into what love is.
So small steps until we get into the core, or as you said, the yolk.
Right, right. And when it comes to the constituents of love, I would say, well, if you're able to like someone, then, okay, there needs to be respect. And there needs to be effective communication that, always has to come up with positive outcomes.
Yes.
So when it comes to respect, we have to respect each other's individuality, freedom of thought, and learn to negotiate rather than argue when it comes to communication.
You see, I had an idea, honestly, and I hope you correct me if I'm wrong or correct. When any couple, they should really respect each other. If they pass that limit, unfortunately, they are really deep down in problem in their relationship.
I agree with you totally.
If I don't if I can curse at her and she can't curse back, wow, we are almost you know what I mean?
It's going to be a vicious cycle.
Yeah,
Yes.
because the more respect, the more it adds to love.
Fiction.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I ask a small question?
Yeah.
You said liking. Is there a difference between a like and infatuation?
Well,
What was the last one?
Infatuation.
Infatuation. Wow,
there-
that's
the
a huge
the
terminology for me.
Yeah, the second word leads me to think of an obsession.
Okay.
So, I mean, yes,
So it's
liking someone.
obsession.
I would,
The meaning
from
of
my perspective,
It's
I
not.
would
It's
say
not. No, no.
would be
It differs. It's similar to likeness, but in a
okay.
psychological
Okay.
perspective, was
Well,
it?
liking someone is where we talk about how love is maintained.
Yes.
And
Okay.
liking someone is when, you know, you share common habits. You show gratitude to one another.
But infatuated, it be to be obsessed about someone, right?
I'd rather, yes,
Stalking.
I'd go that way when I was to
Yeah,
hear
because
that.
because
yes.
there wouldn't be something, as you said, the respect and all that thing that maintain the love inside it.
Right, right. Another thing we want to try to stay away from is control. Because usually, I
Yes.
mean, after several years, couples, they start to believe that they possess the other person. So that's when, you know, they start to want to feed their ego. And unfortunately, that's when there's a lack of respect.
Okay.
Yes.
So going back to liking someone, it's not only having common habits, but, you know, showing gratitude to one another. Focusing and commenting on, you know, the strongest qualities of one another, being able to communicate effectively in a healthy way. It's you know, enjoying each other's company. So I mean, when that's established, that like is there, and then love comes onwards.
There is a situation or a status here in our community. I'm not going to say all the men, but I want you to be aware of. And what's the solution for that?
In the Middle East, you mean?
In the Middle East.
The Middle
Okay,
East.
let's say, I mean, not in the Kuwaiti society only, it's all over.
Yeah.
Okay, I love this girl, whatever she's definitely my wife and everything, right? But, you know, I can, you know, sometimes, you know, have my own space, you know, and go to my friends and keep, but absolutely, I don't want to be separate. I mean, what do you call it? Is this love or obsession or, you know what I mean? Like definitely she's going to listen to you as a husband. She's going to obey you. She's not disobedient, but, you know, sometimes, okay, let me go to my friends, fishing, sleeping over the chalet,
You wanna
whatever.
live your life.
Yeah,
That's
sometimes,
normal.
I mean, this, unfortunately, you know, taking place, you know. But when you ask him, he says, yeah, oh, absolutely, I love my wife. So what do you call this status?
Well, is firstly, my question is that person spending his time with his friends not to be with his wife under the same roof? Because it would differ, in my opinion, because,
They're running away.
I
you
mean,
Yeah,
if you're out there, and this is important, to have some alone time,
Yes.
you know, either just on your own
Exactly.
or with friends. And that should go in both ways.
Yes,
It's healthy. It's a good thing, you know, for a relationship.
indeed.
When it comes
Makes
to
you
marriage as well.
miss your, yeah.
Exactly. There's that connection.
Gives-
and you can, you know, fill your cup before coming back home.
Exactly.
So you'll be able to accommodate, you know, listen and bond.
But it's not like escapism.
Well, some people do that.
Do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's some people, I'm pretty sure it's an escape for them, a channel, so they can, you know, not tend to be or confront with problems.
Or some, you know, married, you know, men, they live as if they were single, and I know that. I know a lot of them, honestly. You know, unfortunately, you know, he's always out, you know, and he comes at night. It's like on hotel, you know.
Got you. Yes. I mean, that I would say possibly I would, you know, entail that the person doesn't like to stay home.
Yeah.
And the reason would be probably because, you know, he doesn't enjoy, there's not that
Yes,
bond
indeed.
between his wife.
Let's move to another topic. Doctor, I know that there is a book that's called The 5 Languages of Love. And I have read it, and it really emphasizes on the expressing of love from someone to another. So there are different ways of expressing love
Definitely.
from a man to his wife or to his lover. So how is that? Could you show us a little bit about those?
Sure, of course. Well, again, going back to it being an emotion.
Yeah.
If I have that emotion, I know a lot of people, well, everyone that I know has that emotion of love.
Yes.
but the difference here is the degree of love that you express, and that determines the expression. So when it comes to just looking at the framework of love, when it comes to, well, we have to consider three variables. The first one, variables or factors.
Yes.
The first one would be, firstly, who the person is,
Yes.
right? Is it a friend? Is it a cousin? Is it a sister? Is it a brother? Is it a wife? Is it a husband? Gender would be another, and the nature of the relationship. And love can be expressed in many different ways. I mean, through understanding, communication, through behavior, actions. So when it comes to people in general, there are different degrees, and love is expressed in different ways. But when it comes to a couple that are married, that manifests into, let's say, the highest level of degree of what, love,
Well,
where you have that affection.
Can I just interrupt a little bit? What if, as we said, the languages, the expression of the love from a man to his wife is not known to her? I mean, some of them they do stuff. They don't express language. Let's say verbally, but he is doing a lot of stuff to the house. He or her car, or like the services, and she doesn't really understand that this is some kind of expressing the love.
That's a great question, and that was something I wanted to touch on as well.
But this depends on what type of.
No, it's the same
woman.
relation. Both of them.
No, I know, but some females, they like to hear words. Some
That's
females,
true.
they like to see action.
Yes,
That's true.
So,
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, we have to consider, number one, some people have a difficulty expressing love at times.
Yes.
And then there are some people who express love in a certain way that may not be common to the majority. But to them, when they act upon it, it fulfills their belief of, yes, I'm expressing love. So, I mean, love can be expressed in many different ways, verbally, through actions, but, I don't really necessarily have to say, I love you to my wife. If I was to just send a message in the morning saying, good morning, have a nice day, that actually means I love you.
Yes. Okay.
Or if
you are connecting.
Exactly. Or you just, check in and say how, how things are going.
Are you
That's
okay?
another way of saying, exactly, I love you. So, I mean, like you're mentioning, in doing some chores at home, cleaning the car, being accommodating.
Bringing something from the market.
Exactly.
Sometimes,
yes, that is, it's teamwork. It's teamwork, and that's an expression as well of love. Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes, it is. So I think it really depends on the other half. The first one is expressing love, but the other half, is he expecting that, and is he really receiving that love? So what if the other half is not precipitant to that love?
Well, yeah, I mean, it takes two to tango.
Yes.
But maybe that person is, has difficulty expressing the love. Maybe he is or she is in a certain way, but the other party is, doesn't know that, okay, that's what love is, or the person's trying to express love. But it definitely needs to go both ways. It certainly does. Yes.
Let's go back a little bit to, how we make, the relation fresh again.
Yes. Because usually I think after the honeymoon phase.
After
How many is the honeymoon phase?
Because honestly,
What's the timing of honeymoon
when you have
phase?
20 years, 19, 20, stuff
But
like
this is way back after the honeymoon.
Right. Well, see, here's the thing. I mean, love, it does change in dynamics.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that there's no love.
Okay,
right?
absolutely.
So what needs to happen is you need to revisit that outer shell of the egg.
Yeah.
And that's what we do at KCC, when I have couples for marriage counseling. A part of it is, not only revisiting that liking aspect, but also relearning how to effectively communicate so they don't argue, but they negotiate, how to manage their challenges. you know, pick a day out of the week and call it a date night, you know, and you know, and then dedicate that day where you can spend quality time with
catch a flick or go a movie.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing would be is to try to learn new things together and see if they both like it, then they can both participate, and that's where they enjoy each other's company. And of course, you know, being able to focus on those strong qualities of one another, and expressing gratitude. So it's you got to spice it up if you want to say we need to revisit that part and you know, get it going so they can learn.
And
you do the
sometimes
honeymoon, let's
also
say.
intimacy, you know. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely. That's another
That's-
part of I would say the physical expression of
yeah,
love.
absolutely.
Yes, yes.
And like, but you know, trust also.
Loyalty and trust, definitely, definitely, very important.
Because sometimes if you break the trust, you know, that's a huge
That can be a problem.
wound.
Right, that's true. Trust is very important, and well, it's also if you have that, that brings you a lot of inner peace. It does, and
So
it makes
because definitely, you know, I know, you know, we all know a lot of, you know.
He's speaking about men.
No, yeah.
He's speaking
You know,
about men,
I know a lot
not
of friends.
us, not-
Okay,
no women,
they
just men.
broke the trust once
okay.
or twice. Okay, and then they are loyal. I mean, honestly, how they kind of heal that in a relation?
Well, it depends on, you know, how how they broke that trust. What did they do when it came to breaking that
Something
trust?
minor.
Something minor. Well, they would have to talk about it. They would have to sit down and be open to, you know, an open conversation that's honest, and work it out.
Truth.
And of course, being truthful is very important. I mean, they always say the truth is always going to be, you know, discovered at one point.
You know, we have a
right?
saying in Arabic, you know,
Yes.
"Sidq manjat."
Yes,
Okay,
indeed.
okay.
So always,
okay.
you know, be honest and
Right,
truthful.
right.
And that leads you to your
Right.
success.
Right. I agree. And being truthful is something that, you know, it's respect for your own self as well. You know, being truthful and honest and just laying it out on the table, and then trying to put the puzzle together to work it out. You know, when both parties have that common goal.
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
A lot of relationships between spouses or any other ones, after some time of years, they get used to each other. They get used to the existence of one another. And after that, when they get that comfortable and useful, it would be, sometimes it goes to a routine kind of rhythm, and that routine would be as still, like there would be no romance, no happiness.
Cold.
She's all there. They are already in that. Where would they go? This is what will come. So how do we really break that chain of routine? How do we get it back? Because
Sparky.
yeah, I know that you said get a date night or something like that, but sometimes this will not be like.
Sometimes it doesn't, you know,
Yeah.
it doesn't fit. It's not suitable. Well, I would recommend, you know, coming together and putting together a futuristic, realistic plan of the future.
Okay.
You know, so they can participate, so they're both involved. Learning and sharing from one another is also another thing where they, you know, not only learn and experience things, but they share them with one another. You know, it's that routine, I mean, in general, is important to mental health.
Exactly.
Okay.
When it comes to relationships, you want to, from time to time, have a spontaneous, you know, idea.
Idea, okay. Like
know,
traveling
Exactly. If-
2 days ago, 2 days, you know, for 2 days abroad.
that can do it.
That
you
can
know,
spark it up.
exactly, and then having that quality time together. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a staycation, but you know, a vacation. They can go out and have dinner. They can go out and stay at a hotel. There are many things that they can do, but it's really, you know, it's really about the nature of the relationship and how they can maintain
Just
it.
quick one. You know, our director is telling me we are sticking to the time. Please make it quick.
No worries.
Look, the basically the nature of a male, okay, and that's, let's face it, you know, we are men, and this is, God created in us, has this tendency to, have more than, women, okay? I mean, this is, I'm not talking about forbidden relations. I'm talking about, in Islam, but this is hard to accept for women. I mean,
sharing is not caring at all. Sharing in that field is not caring at all.
I know. That's amazing. Anyway, this will take us to a lot of,
He's going to have trouble later on. Don't worry about that.
Anyway, if you have a message,
right,
for couples, because we are at the end of this interview, please share it to the viewers.
Well, I just want to say that, love, marriage and love, they do bring joy. And it's a platform where you can find the joy, you can find the positive interactions, you can find, support, you can find the purpose, and also, the purpose of your life.
Yes.
You can also find the sense of belonging. So I would look at these things, and I would also, go back to how it was in the very beginning before they got married, and then comparing. Let's do this again. Let's try to do that, and it's just keeping that rhythm going and consistent, to have that emotion, stay consistent as well, rather than go down after a while. So it does take practice.
Thank you, Dr. Andy.
You're very welcome, and thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Andy, for giving us such a marvelous, really, subject to think about and work on. Well, dear viewers, unfortunately, we always are out of time with special subject. But as Dr. Andy said, don't go into that just downhill. Try to spark a little joy, a little fun, and always remember the first step, the beginnings. What wonderful things you had in those beginnings. Well, beginnings are always nice, but endings is a must. So we are ending the episode, and I think after this break, we are coming back just to say bye-bye. Break.